Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Gabe.
It's Caleb.
And you guys are watching the 39th episode of the Positive Outlook podcast. What are we talking about today, Caleb?
Today we're talking about signs that you're in a funk and 5 steps to get out of a funk.
All right. So when it comes to the steps of, deciding or realizing that you're in a funk, what are the most notable for you?
So I wrote down 6 of them because I think these are like the big 6.
Mhm.
But if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe.
Yes.
So step one. I'm sorry, I'm jumping to the next topic already. The first sign is no energy.
Okay.
Just complete lack of energy.
Yeah. What does no energy mean to you throughout your day?
No energy is like when you wake up and you just can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
And that's not like you sit there and you go, I'm going to stay in bed. It's you feel like you cannot open your eyes.
Like you're glued to the bed.
Yes.
And this is like separate from whether you didn't get enough sleep last night or if you're sick and trying to fight something off. This is just like if you're perfectly fine, got enough sleep.
It's been 4, 5, 6 days plus, and you still feel like there's no reason to get out of bed.
Right.
You can't get yourself up.
Yeah.
And I know I have faced that many times.
Mm-hmm.
But it also comes at the end of the day. I know from personal experience, I feel it a lot. It's like I can barely keep my eyes open.
Right.
But then it always hits that point where it's like late enough that you're awake.
Yeah.
And so that also contributes to that lack of energy.
Yeah, I almost notice sometimes I have like the 10 p.m. wake up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really strange because your whole cycle is off when you're in a funk.
Yep.
So it's like in the mornings you can't wake up. You know, the point of the day when you're supposed to wake up, you can't wake up. And then when it comes to nighttime, when it's time to go to bed, you find all these other distractions. You know, opposed to laying in bed and going to sleep.
A lot of times it comes from my phone. It's like, I got to check this app real quick.
Yeah.
Or I got to see if someone messaged me.
And then you're scrolling through TikTok for 3 hours.
Or once in a while, and this happens now over break, that I have a TV around, I'll click on Netflix and binge something.
Yeah, and it's always so hard to fall asleep when you have something that could catch your attention for maybe even half a second. Because you'll be laying there, you know, kind of just sleeping away in your thoughts. And then you hear something on the TV and you open one eye for half a second and then you try to go back to sleep. And then it's like, well, I just reset my whole cycle right there.
Right. And whenever you're trying to go to sleep, do you ever have this thing where it's like you have your eyes closed, you're starting to feel tired, and the moment you open your eye, one eye, you're just like, I'm up.
Yeah. It's almost like a mindset thing at that point. It's like, well, I'm not tired anymore.
Right.
When in reality you are. Because once you get up, walk to the bathroom, you're like, oh, I'm so groggy. Like, I didn't realize I was this tired when I was laying in bed. I wish I would have just stayed in bed.
Yep.
But it's kind of just like this endless cycle that you do have to just overcome and just lay there and go to bed. As hard as it is.
If you need some advice, we've talked about this with some friends of ours. If you feel like you can't fall asleep, write down everything on your mind, and you'll find it's a lot easier to just drift off.
Yeah. Because, I mean, typically, it's hard to fall asleep because whether you have a thought for the new day or you have something that's bugging you, if you write it down, you know, you don't worry about holding on to the thought till the morning. Like a couple nights ago, I had a thought and I was like, that is so good. And I kind of went in this own rabbit hole in my mind of this new cool thing that I could create. And then I was like, well, I better write this down so I don't forget it in the morning. Yeah. And I was too tired to get up. And so then I was up for probably another 15 minutes just trying to hold on to this thought, like remind yourself. And it would have just saved me so much time if I just wrote it on a piece of paper.
You ever get stuck in a rut where it's only bedtime that you can remember? It'll kick back in your mind and you're like, oh, I have it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And then it slips again.
And the worst thing about ruts is you are so unproductive and you don't do anything at all with your day, you know? And so say you have a day off and you're just kind of laying in bed till noon and then you get up and you walk around and then you watch TV, play on your phone. Next thing you know, it's 11 p.m. and you're like, shoot, I had to do this today. And then you're like, well, I can't do it now. It's too late. I'll do it tomorrow. And then the cycle just repeats and it really does.
That kind of leads to step 2 or sign 2. I keep saying step.
Yeah.
Sign 2 that you are in a funk is that you don't want to go out. And this is also similar. I put it under the same sign, is that you're spending too much time alone. We talk a lot on the podcast about alone time is good. Yeah. If you want to spend time by yourself, that is great. That is how you kind of learn who you are. But if you're spending too much time and you realize that you're kind of avoiding people and you don't want to go out, you stay at home all day and you don't really do anything, that's a sign. Again, this is usually after a few days. We all have our off days.
Right.
But when you're in a rut, it's something that you feel like, you're stuck in. It's like if you're on a trail
Right.
and there's this rut of previous tire tracks and you're like stuck in it, you just keep going in that rut.
Right. And we are social beings. We desire interaction with other people, and we almost need it.
Yep.
And so it is, if you're alone for a week or more, at a time, it gets, from what we know as being humans and what we have as our instincts, it kind of just isn't us.
Yep.
We need that social interaction, and we need to just encourage that in our lives.
I think that's one thing the pandemic kind of opened people to.
Yeah.
A lot of people found themselves trapped in their heads, and they had two options. It was to either make the best of it and find yourself, or it was to keep succumbing.
Yeah.
Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
To the rut.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It was either, like you just said, it was either fight to get out of it or just stay where you are and be content.
And looking back, at least personally, I can kind of tell from my peers what they chose.
Right.
I've seen some close friends do some amazing things with their free time, and I've seen the complete opposite. And it's a sad thing to see the opposite, but it's a good, hard reality check.
It is, yeah. And I know definitely over quarantine I did that. I kind of isolated and not really pushed everyone away, but you didn't need to in quarantine.
Right.
You didn't need to push anyone away because no one was trying.
Exactly.
And so if you weren't trying either, then you're just alone in it. And then by the end of it, it's really depressing, the person you become. And so working out of that was definitely more difficult than just trying to interact while I was in it.
Right.
So
and that was one funk I think we can all relate to.
Yeah.
I know when I did it, I kind of entered that rut and I didn't realize it. And that's why we want to do the signs before we talk about how to get out of a funk is you might not even know it. If you just keep going through your day and you don't change anything about your day, which is another sign actually in a little bit, but you're in a funk and you can't even necessarily, it's not that you're avoiding it. I mean, you are, but the main thing is that you might not even realize it.
Yeah, I think that's also a very important part about going through it the first time, is you can realize it the second. Because over quarantine, I had no clue what was happening. I just thought I was hanging out by myself, you know, but then I was forgetting all of these other luxuries and pleasures that I had in my life that I just replaced with the comfort of being at home. And so when it came to doing all these other things, I was like, well, that doesn't sound fun. I'm comfortable here. Why would I go out? And it kind of really sneaks up on you and catches you off guard. And so that's why I'm happy to have gone through that, because now I know it's not a good thing, and it's important to take action while you're in it.
Yep. And there was a big illusion of, I have this whole time frame. For me, it was my senior year of high school. And so it started off with, okay, schools are shut down for 2 weeks, which led right into spring break. So it meant I had a month. So any productivity I just pushed off. I was like, I have all this time.
Right.
I can do this whenever it's time to just chill.
Yeah.
Right. And then from there, it just kept getting shoved over and over. And I didn't, my parents weren't sure if they wanted to send me to go work because we didn't really know COVID much at all. And so it was just this illusion where it's like, okay, I have all of this time. It's not going to kill me to chill for one day.
Right.
And it just stretched and kept going.
That one day turns into a month. And then just 2 months, and then 3 months, it just keeps going.
Gabe's most famous saying. Stop saying one day and start saying day one.
Yeah, it's very important to do.
All right. And then sign number 3 is that you're feeling very uninspired. And I don't want people to confuse this with unmotivated because I think those are two very different things. Yeah. Uninspired is where, again, it's kind of going back to no energy. You can't get yourself to do it for whatever reason. Right.
And I noticed there's a lot of things in my life that bring me joy. There's a lot of things that provide happiness and fun in my life, but when I'm in a rut, I don't want to do those things. And so that's where I think you can say it's uninspiring. So it's almost where you're kind of I don't know, ignorant to what's actually going on. You might just think, oh, that thing's not fun for me anymore, but give it a couple weeks and you'll be right back to it.
It's kind of like you have these two fronts in your mind. You know, the one that knows what to do and is productive and wants to get things done, and then the other is the complete opposite, and you kind of let that other side take over. And I know sometimes you can point it out, sometimes you can't, but usually you just kind of give into it, and it never ends well for people who let the uninspired part of you take over. Because like unmotivated is just you got to do it, but you don't feel like it. Uninspired is like you think you don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When in reality, once you do it, you're gonna feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Like with going to the gym.
Yep.
That was the last thing I would have done during any of that. Quarantine, any of that. That's the last thing I think I would have wanted to do was go to the gym, which ended up turning out to be the one thing that got me out of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's crazy. It's crazy to think about that.
And that leads kind of into step number 4. You feel like you can't change your day.
Mm-hmm.
We all have those daily grinds where we're working towards something and it
Right.
feels like every day's the same. That's different than you feel like you can't change your day.
Right.
Because when you feel like you can't change your day, you're stuck in that rut where before you went to the gym, I don't know if you ever promised yourself like, yeah, I'll do that, and then you just didn't.
Yeah.
That's how you feel like you can't change your day. It's like, well, I worked all day.
Yeah.
I just want to go to bed.
Yeah. Or you just don't think you have the strength to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, this is just who I am. I can't keep to a promise. I can't keep to what I'm telling people. So why am I even going to try?
Right.
Because I'm just going to keep letting people down.
And so you just accept that your schedule is set. You can't add anything or subtract anything.
Mm-hmm.
And typically you find these little things that appease your mind where it's like distraction
Mm-hmm.
or it's something that gives you a sense of accomplishment, another illusion.
Right.
And I just think you have to be very careful with that because you can always change your day. I know when we've talked about this a long time ago, I was going to the gym. I finally decided to get a membership.
Mm-hmm.
I started going. I had a workout partner,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't the most consistent workout partner. And so I used that as an excuse to not go.
Right.
And then finally I got caught back in that rut of, okay, I'm at work. I could just go later.
Right.
And it never happened. And so finally I was like, all right, I'm going no
Mm-hmm.
matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And so it always just takes that little Tony Robbins inside of you
Yeah.
to
Definitely.
just get your butt moving.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then where are we at? 5?
Yep.
Complaining too much.
Yeah.
This is something we see a lot.
Yeah. You have to be careful what you're saying because you're expelling that. That's coming from somewhere inside of you. And that's like the whole thing is that anger doesn't happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever watched that video. I can't remember who it is. But it's the whole thing of anger doesn't happen to us. When we expel anger, we create an insert point for it in our heads.
Yep.
And so when we say these negative things about situations we are in or about ourselves, we're creating an insert point for that to come in. It's not happening into us. We're creating it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be careful what you say.
And I think high school Caleb was actually really good at not complaining.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I would sit in class and I would hear people complaining about homework or tests or whatever. And I was just like, nah. So that's one thing that I started doing more and more. And I've been working on more and more recently.
Mm-hmm.
So I try not to complain too much. I watched this one video I put on my Instagram story. Feel free to follow official Caleb Preston. But little personal branding.
Mm-hmm.
But it's this video and it's this guy talking on this talk show or whatever. And he says he gives himself 5 minutes to complain, to moan, to punch a wall, do
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And then as soon as that 5-minute timer goes off, understand that you can't change whatever happened, whatever made you mad,
Right.
and to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really interesting because a lot of people will start to complain and then keep complaining.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to give yourself time to express what happened and let that all out. But
Right.
at the end of the day, you can't let that be hanging over your head.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not good to bottle that up if you do have it. But if you realize you have a lot of complaining to do throughout your day, change your mindset.
Mm-hmm. And then the final sign is that you feel off and or sick.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, I this kind of ties in with tired,
Mhm.
but this kind of adds in like exhaustion. I know sometimes I just feel really lethargic when I'm
Mhm.
going through it. I feel lethargic, like I don't have enough energy. I mean, that's pretty much lethargic,
Right.
but it's kind of just grouped up in that. And then also when you're stressed out and unmotivated, your immune system's compromised. So
Yep.
it's like you do get sick easier.
your
And
mind
then-
is working overtime.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's kind of like you can't sleep. So your body is just not getting the rest it needs.
right.
And
so.
sometimes you feel like by feeling off, you can feel like a completely different person.
Right. Yeah. You don't feel like yourself at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You just feel like some sort of shape-shifted,
Yeah.
weird, formless creature.
Or like a shadow of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just like wanting, it's like you see your physical being in front of you, but you're just a shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And like you want to get back to that, but you don't know how. And so that's what this episode is for.
Yes. And now we can start transitioning into the 5 steps to get out of a funk?
Yeah, so 5 steps to get out of a funk. The first step is connection. We mentioned this earlier. We are social beings. It's important to pursue that in our lives. You know, we have friends and family for a reason. And if it's not that, maybe you hop on Facebook and go comment on somebody's post. You know, if you like Superman, if you like Batman, if you like any of that stuff going on, then you go and you comment on these threads and, you know, maybe provoke a conversation that way. But regardless, we're social beings and we need to talk.
Right. And one thing that, you know, obviously, again, the pandemic really made dysfunctional is social interaction in a real environment. And I think people downplay that a lot, but I think that's super important.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember the one thing I did every day when I was getting out of my rut from quarantine. One thing I would do every day is go out to public. And even if I didn't need anything, right, I would go to Walmart and I would compliment 3 people, regardless what it is. Like, hey, I like your hair. That's cool. It's a cool haircut. Where'd you get that shirt? Those shoes are cool. You know, just something as little as that. And then it's going to lead into those conversations that kind of distract you and make you realize like you're comfortable in society. So you should be there. And it's realizing that social interaction is so key to our lives.
And another thing too is once you've isolated for so long, it's kind of weird. You feel like a weirdo. Like when you're having those social interactions,
like
you
a
just
hermit
feel
crab.
distant, you know, and it's really important. That's the reason that people have to stay social is in order to be social, you have to work at it.
Right. Yeah.
It's a skill I still have a hard time. I know when I worked at Walmart, I would see people I know and I would avoid them like the plague just because every interaction I had, I didn't know what to say in such a short amount of time. Yeah. And it was just this high pressure situation, even though it was just like a, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
So just keep working at it. It's okay. It doesn't come easily to many people.
Yeah.
Comes easier to you than me, I would think. But I've definitely improved on that part. So
good. Yeah, it's definitely it's a good area to improve in. It's awesome,
especially when you have a podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Going into number 2, movement, getting around, getting your blood flowing, getting your body working. I think it is so underrated, the benefits, the mental benefits and the physical benefits of working out. You know, a lot of people think it's just have big arms or big legs, but it's so much deeper than that.
And you can work out for more than just bulking.
Yeah, and movement doesn't even mean necessarily like going to the gym and killing yourself there. It's cooking dinner and putting on a good song and dancing to it, or going for a drive with your favorite song on and bobbing your head to it, or doing a yoga class or something like that, playing with your dog on the ground, something like that.
One thing that I like to do, especially when I'm in a funk, go for a walk. I shut my phone off, leave it either in the dorm or in my car or in my room, wherever I'm at, and just go for a walk. Yeah. Time is like, it's not even in your mind when you're going for this walk, and you just feel finally like disconnected, but in a good way. Yeah. Like you feel free. Yeah. You can just think.
Like there's this quote, sometimes you need to unplug to recharge. And it's because we're so used to plugging things into, you know, because it's like, that's the source of my life and attention right here is this little phone I have in my hands. So sometimes you just got to unplug to recharge yourself.
So it's not like you guys have to go hit, you know, an Arnold Schwarzenegger or Chris Bumstead workout. Just go for a walk. Yeah.
Or go throw your dog a Frisbee or whatever you need to do to get out of bed and keep moving.
Go jump in a lake. Probably not now if you're in Michigan, but
yeah, too cold. Okay, moving into number 3, healthy eating. Or I guess just a more general term is watch what you're putting into your body, because when it comes to the ruts, there's quick fixes like alcohol, liquor, any of that stuff that's going to make you feel better right now. But think about 12 hours from now. You know, maybe you're going to oversleep because you got too drunk last night, and then you're not going to be able to get up in the morning and have better energy. It's going to repeat that loop. So you got to be careful what you're putting in your body. More importantly, eating. When you're eating foods, you know, stick to healthier foods, lots of greens, fruits, that kind of thing, because that's not going to add to the grogginess or the fatigue. It's going to boost your energy and allow your body to function better, because you want everything on your side when you are in a funk.
The parallels between physical health and mental health and how to upkeep with them are so insane.
Yeah. It's almost linear.
Right, because you need the discipline to know what to eat and eat it. You need the discipline to know how to work out and to work out. Yeah. And so it's kind of crazy. If you keep up with one, in some ways or in all ways, the other will improve. Yeah. Like working out mentally you have to create that resilience of, I'm not going to set this weight down until I finish my workout.
Right. It's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's all pretty much weightlifting is.
Exactly. And it teaches you so much in translating it into life.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't just stay in the gym. It translates to other challenges that you'll have in life. So
it's a really nice skill to pick up. And I mean, why not be in better shape,
Yeah, definitely. Moving into number 4, focus on good sleep. I mean, we talked a little bit about how it's tough to wake up in the morning, but you're not going to help yourself by going to bed at 3-4 a.m.
Yep.
So I know sometimes when I have funks, I fall asleep at 2-3 a.m., wake up at 8, do part of my day, go back to bed, nap for a couple hours, wake up, do another part of my day. And it's almost where I'm living like sectioned days. And then where it's 4 a.m. and I'm like, should I go to bed? Am I tired? Did I get enough sleep today? Can I stay up till tomorrow? It's like, just focus on your proper sleep.
Yep.
And focus on a schedule, because the 2 5-hour naps does not equate to a 10-hour rest.
No.
And so you do have to go through your full sleep cycle. We have a sleep cycle for a reason, and you have to get through it.
Cut out the artificial light.
Yeah.
The reason the sun sets, not literally, but the reason the sun sets is to let you know it's bedtime.
Yeah.
Now, unless you're working the night shift, which I applaud you, because that would be pretty tough.
Yeah.
My dad is a sleep study and pulmonologist. He works here in Gaylord, Michigan. But one thing that I've learned a lot is how important sleep is. It's insane. If you have sleep apnea, that can actually take years off your life. I recommend going and getting studied if possible. But setting up a routine sleep schedule.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people kind of shudder at the word routine. They're not a big fan. And I get that. I like having more of an open schedule, I guess. But routine is necessary in many ways.
Right.
And sleep is one of the most important. So work on a sleep schedule.
Plus, we have internal clocks. Our body is used to routine.
Yep.
That's what we're comfortable with. And so if you go to bed at 9 p.m. every night, and then on the weekend try to stay up till 11, your body's not going to want to. So if you can be disciplined and hold yourself to it for a week and a half, then you're not going to have any trouble past that.
It's kind of funny, while we're kind of bringing up the pandemic here and there, I became a sleep Nazi, I called it. I was obsessed with going to bed at one time, and it was just because my body wanted to. It was actually like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when you're trapped in a house with a sleep study doctor,
Right.
And so I'd go over to a friend's house, and they'd be up until 2 a.m. I was cashed by 10, 30, 11.
Right.
I couldn't do it because I was on such a schedule.
Yeah.
Have you ever said to yourself before you went to bed, I want to wake up at this time, and you do it?
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things ever. And it's because, like you said, your body has an internal clock.
Right. And it knows, it's weird. Sometimes your alarm doesn't go off, and you wake up right before your alarm or right after your alarm, and you're like, oh my gosh, it didn't go off. How did I wake up? And you're just flabbergasted. You're like, what the heck just happened?
But you're also hyped. Cause it's like, if I would have slept in, today would have been way worse.
Yeah, now I'm not going to be late. And so moving into number 5, manage social media and news exposure. This is really important, especially right now.
Right now.
All there is just right now, news is just showing the things that bring the drama. And because that's what's getting a lot of attention, and there's a lot of drama in the world right now. So if you can manage your social media and news exposure, you're going to be receiving less negative things in your life.
Absolutely. Like we were talking about disconnecting, that is huge. I have timers on my phone. I think we've talked about it here and there. It's just because it's not good. It's not benefiting you. It may feel like you're having some sort of social connection.
Right.
And in a way, sometimes there is, but most of the time it's really not. It's just mindless distraction that's keeping you from your day.
Yeah.
I saw this one video or picture, I think it was a video actually, and it was showing all these moments in life, and usually shared between two people. And one was there, and like you could see them, and then the other was a transparent person sitting on a device, and it just showed how much they take away from like little moments in life.
Yeah.
And what I've learned and what you will learn and etc. is that it's the little moments that add up over and over and over again. And so a lot of times social media and news exposure, they take away from those little moments.
Yeah.
And then one more thing about the news is if you look back 200 years ago or even 100 years ago, we knew very little about what was going on around the whole world.
Right.
And I think everyone was just fine.
Yeah.
And so if you just keep that in mind, whatever's happening in Washington, D.C., sure, it might have impacts on your life in financial regard or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not changing your everyday life.
Right.
100%.
I think we should switch back to pigeon mail.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you think about it, how hard are you going to try to keep up with the mail if you got to catch that pigeon? You know? So.
Or if you have to take the time to write it out.
Yeah.
Fold it up, put a little stamp on it.
Yeah.
Tie it to the pigeon. I mean, then they poop everywhere.
Yeah.
It
but
definitely
I think that shows with social media. It's like, I think we only really pay attention because of how convenient and easy it is to. Like if we had to work to see what was going on with yada yada, we wouldn't care.
Right.
It's like, well, I'm not going to spend my time to work towards this thing, like chasing a pigeon to grab the mail that it's holding to see what's going on over here. It's like it.
Right. And the one thing that I have absolute confidence in is that if we switch to pigeon mail, our marketing would even go increase because it shows our devoted followers.
Yeah. Yeah. We just see people chasing pigeons, hoodie merch or something in there and holding them the pigeon. So yeah, do you have anything else you want to say today? I think we hit all the points.
Yeah, I think this was a fun episode, a good one. I hope you guys got cozy for it. It was a nice meaty episode.
Yeah.
But about feedback, we have a note on here to bring up feedback because we had a subscriber who commented something about Gabe needing to talk louder.
Yeah, so it was a comment saying it was either like get closer to the mic or speak up. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's good because we like feedback, we like criticism. And so I went to go check which episode that was on to see how we were set up and maybe, you know, to avoid doing it again. And I went to go see and the comment was gone. And so I was like, what video was this on? I couldn't even see. So we thought today we should bring up feedback so that you guys can let us know. There's things maybe that you don't like. Maybe it's how often I say, you know, because I do say that a lot and I'm trying to stop. But maybe there's a lot of little things that Caleb and I aren't noticing that you guys do. And so if you guys could let us know on things to fix up, we would love that.
And maybe it's added content you want to hear. Maybe it's more specifics. Maybe you want to see the check-ins that we started, the check-in series. We kind of let go because it wasn't too popular. And again, it was more for Caleb and I than the viewers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Caleb and I mainly did the check-ins just so him and I could talk. And then we streamed them live just in case anyone else wanted to be there for it. You guys could be.
And we definitely, we did get some people in there. We got some people from Apple Music.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool.
It's a lot more fun when we can interact on a live basis and hear from people in the moment rather than wait until Monday. But yeah, just any feedback, feel free to drop it in the comments. And thank you guys for watching or listening.